This section is based on paragraphing. The main objective is to learn when to change to a new paragraph and to learn about the parts of a paragraph expected in my writing in section B of the exam. In this piece, you will see examples of past questions and questions you could be asked during the exam. Firstly, when should you change paragraphs? Whenever you're thinking about if you need to start a new paragraph or not, consider tip-top first. That's time, place, topic, and person. If you've changed any of these, then you definitely need to change to a new paragraph. For each of these, I'm going to give an example so that you can understand how and when it's best to change paragraphs. The main exam question for these examples is to write a speech to your school council about homework and whether it should be abolished. For this, you need to deeply consider your purpose, audience, and form. For the purpose of this exam question, the purpose would be to argue as to whether or not homework should be abolished. Your audience would be the school council, which is a group of your peers, and the form would be to write a speech. Time. Whenever you change the time in your writing, a new paragraph is required. This time could be the time of day, as in morning to afternoon. It could also be moving to another day, week, month, year, etc. I still believe that it is appalling that schools force you to do homework. It is a known fact that 60% of all pupils who fail to complete their homework tasks still achieve 5 or more A-star to C's in their GCSEs. How can you argue with this? Last year, there was a decrease in the amount of students achieving the necessary grades in their GCSEs. Was this the fault of students failing to complete homework? In this example, last year is used to start a sentence. It also starts the next new paragraph for the simple reason that it is a time. Because I've changed the time from present to past, I have used a new paragraph. Place. Whenever you change the place in your writing, a new paragraph is required. This place could be a foreign geographic location or a shorter move from one building to another. It could also be a move from one room to another, etc. I still believe that it is appalling that schools force you to do homework. It is a known fact that 60% of all pupils who fail to complete their homework tasks still achieve 5 or more A-star to C's in their GCSEs. How can you argue with this? Finland has one of the best educational systems in the world. Education does not just start in school, it starts in the home. It was noted that far too many children watch television, especially American shows, and so it was decided that instead of dubbing the shows with voiceovers, all foreign shows would be subtitled. This led to an increase in literacy, as students were forced to read what was being said, or they would need to learn how to speak fluent English. In this example, I've decided to discuss Finland and the educational system in that country. Because I've changed the place from schools in this country to schools in a foreign country, I have changed place. Therefore, I need to start a new paragraph. Topic. Whenever you change the topic you are discussing in your writing, a new paragraph is required. This includes various subjects, or even when you need to introduce a new point to further support the purpose of your writing. I still believe that it is appalling that schools force you to do your homework. It is a known fact that 60% of all pupils who fail to complete their homework tasks still achieve 5 or more A-star to C's in their GCSEs. How can you argue with this? It isn't just homework which is an issue in schools. Students failing to complete classwork in lessons plays a major role in students not achieving their full potential in subjects. In this example, I've used the idea of students failing to complete classwork to back up my idea that it's not just homework that's an issue. Because I've changed the topic that I'm discussing, I've needed a new paragraph. Classwork and homework, as they are two different topics, would mean that when I move on to the next topic, I would need to replace it to a new paragraph. Person. Whenever you change the person in your writing, a new paragraph is required. This includes using anecdotes as a point of argument in writing to argue, persuade, advise, etc. Anecdotes are short stories based on the life of a person or an experience that a person has had in life, and you use this to support your ideas. Additionally, the person being discussed or talking in creative writing will also need a new paragraph. I still believe that it is appalling that schools force you to do homework. It is a known fact that 60% of all pupils who fail to complete their homework tasks still achieve 5 or more A statuses in their GCSEs. How can you argue with this? David, an average student, went to school every day and made sure that all of his homework was completed and handed in on time. He passed his GCSEs, however, decided to get an apprenticeship at a garage to learn all about motor vehicles and how to fix them. Was homework useful? Did it help him fulfill his lifelong dreams? Hard work and determination do not come to a person as a direct result of completing homework. They are learnt through the successes and failures of personal experience. Within this piece, I've started using an anecdote about a person called David. Because I've changed the person I'm speaking about, as I've now narrowed in to a particular person in order to achieve an effect in my writing, I needed to start a new paragraph. This is another exam-style question that you could be asked. Write a letter to your local council about teenage safety. A question like this leaves you open to explore the possible dangers and experiences faced by teenagers like you in society today. Responses for this could include information about bullying, getting to and from school, peer pressure, eating disorders, gangs, and many, many more. It is up to you to decide what you want to talk about and in what order you want to discuss it. Just remember that because you will be changing according to TipTop, you need to use paragraphs every time you change. Parts of a paragraph. A paragraph has often been compared to a burger. That is, that you have the buns and then the juicy insides. These insides represent the main meat of your piece, the main meat of your paragraph. But obviously, you need to start and end with a bun. These two ends are the most important part because they introduce what you're going to say and then they end what you're going to say within that paragraph. To start, you'll need a topic sentence. This sentence tells the reader the main idea or what the paragraph will be about. This means that you don't have to fit your entire argument within the one paragraph. It will help you structure. In terms of ending your paragraph, you need a sentence to conclude. This sentence will refer to the topic sentence and sum up the main idea of the paragraph. In your writing, because you'll rely a lot on the devices necessary for matching your form, this concluding sentence could always be a device used according to the Forest. To go with your topic sentence and concluding sentence, you need a really good filling. The juicy filling in the centre of this burger mean the main elements which will help you secure your argument in each and every paragraph. You need supporting details to match with your topic sentence, and you need good vocabulary to support what you're saying and to make it sound like you know what you're talking about. Don't, for the purpose of this piece, use vocabulary that you don't understand. It could really harm the main purpose of your essay and your piece. For the purpose of this example, I've used the following question. Write a letter to your local council about teenage safety. For this, I've taken the first bullet point, which was based on bullying, an experience that many students have had. Did you know that nearly 90% of all students have been bullied at least once in their entire time at secondary school? Bullying can easily be referred to as an epidemic in the educational system in society today. Bullying is harmful to the physical and emotional well-being of all students and is a major issue in the social development of any sufferer. This is due to the fact that it leaves the sufferer with trust issues and paranoia, which are often irreparable in sufferers and can affect their ability to develop healthy social relationships later on in life. Doing nothing now means that you are partially to blame for the suffering of others, both now and in the nearby future. You will be no better than the bully. Is this really something you want to be a part of? So for this, my topic sentence and my concluding sentence are both rhetorical questions. This shows that I'm discussing bullying, but also leaving it in the hands of my reader or listener to decide whether they want to be a part of it. I have also focused on putting in supporting details and making sure that my vocabulary is very precise and well used. I've also made sure that it is an extensive vocabulary so that the examiner will be able to mark for that as well. For my burger meat, I have chosen to talk about bullying and how it can be referred to as an epidemic. For this, I'm not just focusing on bullying and the effect that it has, but also that it is something that's very much widespread. The vocabulary using the term epidemic means that I can show off the skills that I know, and it helps me with the supporting details. I haven't just focused on one element, I've tried to make it sound worse than it is. It's a form of hyperbole, which is over-exaggeration. I've also noted that it affects people, that it is harmful to their physical and emotional well-being. Using words like these will help to support your argument, as well as again showing your extensive vocabulary use. Everything here will be useful in a paragraph of your own within the exam. You do need to show that you can use a very extensive paragraph range. You do need to know that you can control what you're saying and that the writing doesn't control you. Within your paragraphs, make sure you're using the vocabulary that you know. Make sure that you don't move to different time, place, topic, or people. Otherwise, that will affect how you structure your work and can often lose you marks. So to return, whenever you're changing to a new paragraph, don't forget that as well as using tip-top, you also need to consider the parts of a paragraph. Use this wisely in your exam, and it can help you get a really good grade. Not only that, but it helps you to structure your work rather than the work structure you.